Would you believe it if I told you there was a VR headset for the PS2? Well, there was, and that is the topic of today's video. Hello there and welcome to RealityBreak, your one-stop shop for everything VR and AR related. So let's get right into it. Quickly, this video is sponsored by Home Restoration VR, and I will be hiding 5 Steam keys for the game at random points in the video. So keep an eye out for them and more about the game later. You may have thought that the PSVR from 2016 was the first official VR headset for a PlayStation console, but in 2002, Sony released a VR headset for the PS2, and they called it #8216 PUD-J5A #8217 or if you shorten it, the Sony PUD-J5A. And I'll be calling it the PUD throughout the video. I don't know who decided to name that, but surely you could have found a better name than whatever the hell that is. If you're confused of why you've never heard of this before, it's likely because it was only sold in Japan, and clearly didn't catch on as it never made it out of the Japanese market. The headset was announced on September 12th, 2002, and then released just 2 weeks later on September 26th. At the time, it cost 59,800 yen, or around $500 at the time, which with inflation is around $850 now. So it was definitely not cheap, especially since the console you were buying it for was only $300 at the time. So it was nearly twice as expensive as the PS2, which was the only thing you could use it with. So let's now move on to a few technical specs. The headset had a resolution of 827 by 228 per eye, which I must say is a very strange aspect ratio, considering most lenses now are almost square, and this one is nearly 4 times wider than it is high. And to put this into perspective, the most common display resolution for the time was 1024 by 768, so even for the time, this was significantly behind other display technology. The newest headset on the market as of this video's release, the Quest 3, has a resolution of 2208 by 2064 per eye. So clearly display technology has come a long way in the last 21 years. The PUD uses stereoscopic technology to project 2 slightly different images to each eye, simulating 3D vision. This is similar to what the Virtual Boy did in 1995. The AI I used to find out information also said that the headset featured a pass-through mode, but I couldn't find anything about that at all, and considering the rest of the technology in the headset, I don't see how that would even be possible. So I'm just gonna assume that it doesn't have it. As I said, this video is sponsored by Home Restoration VR, which is a brand new VR version of a mobile game which has almost 100 million downloads. In the game you have to repair, clean and decorate houses and then sell them for the best price to buy other houses to restore as well. The game has loads of different things to do, from breaking walls, fixing pipes, filling walls, painting walls, cleaning and picking decorations for the houses. There is also way more and even mini games. It's super fun and very satisfying, and it's available on Steam, MetaQuest and also SideQuest. So now let's move on to FOV. Most modern headsets have a horizontal field of view of at least 90 degrees, while this headset has a miserable horizontal FOV of just 25 degrees. I know that already sounds bad, but just look at this comparison. It's estimated that the real human FOV is around 210, so 25 is awful, and it's no wonder that this headset sold so badly. The PUD also had just 3 degrees of freedom, but modern headsets have 6 degrees. But what's actually the difference? 3 degrees means only your head can move and change what you see, but with 6 degrees you can move the camera with your whole body, for example crouching, or even moving side to side. But with 3 degrees, if you moved in real life, the view would be the exact same. So what could this headset actually do and be used with? The PS2 only had 6 games that supported this headset. 4 of them were flight simulators, 1 was a roller coaster building game, and another was a train simulator. The PS2 ended up with over 4,000 games, so the headset supporting just 6 is horrendous. And it shows that people just didn't believe in the technology at the time. And to be honest, that is fair enough. Now, as it sold so badly, it's very hard to find any footage of this thing being used. But there's about 4 videos on YouTube where you can even find anything about it. Now, I believe you could play most games through it, so it would basically be like TV glasses, where you can just see the screen in front of your eyes. Although the headset wasn't just for gaming. The PUD had a feature called Fourth View, which supported a very limited amount of PS2 titles. Fourth View was a way of watching 2D, 360-degree videos. But 360 videos were not easy to come across, as they had to be filmed by huge, special cameras. One of the supported titles included a Ayumi Yamasaki concert disc, which allowed you to become a voyeur in the dressing room of bikini models, which was apparently something you'd want to do in VR in 2002, although arguably it's gotten worse since then. It's honestly crazy to think that this is the origins of the PSVR for the PS4 and PSVR 2 for the PS5, since the technological advancements in virtual reality technology are just so huge. If you compare the technology of the PSVR 2 with the PUD, it's hard to believe these are only 20 years apart. But honestly, the actual design of the headset isn't bad, and it's interesting how VR technology has actually only gotten bigger, until very recently with headsets like the big screen beyond. Of course, headsets like the Quest do have a whole computer inside them, so they are understandably bigger, but it is interesting how long it took to get VR back down to the form factor that we can see with the PUD. As for sound, the PUD does have some integrated headphones, and they're probably decent for the time, especially since they're made by Sony. But I must say, in VR I much prefer not having headphones touching or just around my ears. I much prefer having speakers that blast right into the ears. But would you believe me if I told you that this still isn't Sony's oldest VR headset? They had one released in 1996, and that thing looks funky, but that is a whole different video. So that is the Sony PUD-J5A, and hopefully this video was interesting and gave you some insight on a virtual reality relic. If you did enjoy, make sure that you like and subscribe, as it really helps the channel out. Anyway, hopefully I'll see you next time.